Hey, what's going on everyone? My name is Joseph Tubb and today I'm going to start the How to Paint Your Guitar series. This series is going to be pretty extensive. There's going to be quite a number of videos and I'm going to explain to you from start to finish how to paint your guitar. So I'm just going to jump into it. So the first thing, a couple of things you're going to need some tools. The first tool you're going to need is a Phillips screwdriver. So we can remove all the screws, and then you're going to need a pair of pliers, and I'll explain why you'll need these in a little bit. The next thing you're going to need is you're going to need a box of some sort, something to hold all the parts in when you take them off and kind of keep them in one area so that you don't lose anything. The first thing that we're going to do is we need to remove the strings in order to get to this faceplate, to remove this faceplate. What we're going to do is we're going to flip the guitar and we're gonna remove the strings. Now in order to remove them, we have to loosen them up here on the neck so that we can feed them back through. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start loosening them. Okay, so we got all the strings removed from the neck, so I'm holding them up. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we gotta flip the guitar around. Alright, so now that we have them loose enough to where we can mess with them, you're going to want to flip the guitar. And let's just go ahead and remove, we need to remove this back plate. So let's just go ahead and unscrew this back plate. Alright, so then once you have that, just go ahead and put that in the box. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to turn the guitar kind of on its side. Let me see if I can get this to come through. And then you're just going to feed the string out until you get this little, until you get this thing. This little knobby. So you just go ahead and pull the strings through. You can just go ahead and set these all in the box. Okay, so now the next thing that we have to do, now that we have the strings removed, let's go ahead and let's take the neck off. Let's just eliminate the bulk of this guitar, making it less awkward. Let's go ahead and take this neck off. So let's flip it over. You're gonna see you're gonna have 4 screws holding the neck in. You're not gonna wanna unscrew one at a time. Unscrew them diagonally across from each other. So we're gonna start with this one, then we're gonna go to this one, then to this one, then to this one. Alright, so then we're gonna remove this plate, clean off the dust, and then let's flip this. Oh, okay, good. Alright, sometimes the neck is really snugged in there. So that came out really nice. Alright, so now the next step is we need to go ahead and remove this faceplate. So what we're going to do is we're going to unscrew these surrounding screws first. Omit this one. The ones that are here, they're holding in these pickups. So let's get the perimeter screws out and then let's explore and see what's underneath. Okay, so now we've removed the perimeter screws. We left the central screws and then we left these 2 screws here because it's holding in this device. So then let's just go ahead and lift it up. Notice how everything kind of stays intact. So we were good. Okay, so this is what you're gonna find when you lift this up. When you start to take this apart, you're gonna notice there's 2 wires holding it together. Let's see if I can get this right. There you go. You can see there's a green wire and there's a white wire. The green wire is running to the back. It's the ground. It's grounding out the pickups and everything. This white wire is hooking up to this jack. This is where you hook it into the amp. Okay, so now what we have to do is we need to cut these wires. Before we do that, and I'm going to show you why we have to do it, let's just leave the faceplate on. We're going to remove the jack so that you can understand why. Okay, so here's the reason why we want to cut these wires. Fortunately, we actually were given a lot of slack. This is actually really nice. And the reason why is because, as you notice, when they put the guitar together, these wires, it's one single wire that's ran through and then it's soldered. So if you know how to solder, you can use your solderer and remove the soldering, and then that way you don't have to cut the wires. But in my situation, I don't have a solderer, so what we're going to do is we're just going to cut the wires. I've done this with all the other guitars, and it's safe because you can re-splice them back together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit closer. Okay, so as you can see, the wire's connected, and if I lift up this plate, it's pulling, so it's connected. So what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna find the area with the most slack and the easiest area to work at. And that's primarily gonna be right here. Fortunately, we have a lot of leftover wire, so we can do this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the pair of pliers and we're going to cut it close to the middle. That way we can remove the jack, and then the faceplate becomes able to where we can flip it over. So I'm gonna slide the guitar over a little bit more. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit. Okay, so now let's put this back together so we can see the other part. So we're gonna flip over the guitar so we can see the ground. So as you can see here, the ground wire is soldered in. So what we're gonna have to do is we're gonna have to cut the green wire. So you wanna do the same idea. You wanna find the midpoint, and we're gonna go ahead and cut it. And then what that allows us to do is we can now, zoom out some more, we can now remove our faceplate and put it in the box. So okay, so now not the last thing, but second to last thing that we need to remove. So the next thing we're gonna remove is we need to remove where the strings come through. And this is held in with quite a number of screws, so we need to unscrew each one of these. And again, same idea as the neck, don't unscrew them all completely, just loosen them up. And actually, in fact, now that I'm thinking about it, what's gonna happen is we're gonna run into an issue because this is all held in with tension. We actually need to remove these 3 springs before we can remove this piece. So this is where the pliers come in. There's a flat part here, and what we're gonna wanna do is we wanna grab onto that and very carefully lift up. You can let it go. And kind of remember where these are, because some people have them set up a special way, some people have it set up like, I guess, the manufacturer's way. So you're gonna wanna do that for all of them. All right. And then we'll just go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and remove them. We're not gonna take this out because it's not gonna affect us, so we're just gonna leave this in here. And then what we can do is we can just kind of run the leftover of the cable in. So just go ahead and leave that in. We're not gonna touch the background. And then let's flip the guitar over. So what we wanna do is we wanna remove these screws, and we'll just come back. Okay, so after we've removed all these screws, you're gonna notice they're pretty long. This is one of them. Once we remove them all, we can now take this piece out. So now we've pretty much removed everything. The one last thing that I would recommend removing are these the neck strap pins. The reason for that is when we go to clear coat everything, we're not gonna want to have this additional hardware. So what you're gonna want to do is you're gonna turn it up on its side, and there's a Phillips head, and you're just gonna want to unscrew these. All right, and then you gotta make sure there's a piece of felt on here. Make sure you remove that and be careful not to ruin it or break it. Put that together and then put that in your box. And then we're gonna do the same thing to this back one. Remember to get that piece of felt, and put that in the box. Okay, you guys, so we've removed everything from this guitar in terms of what we're gonna be dealing with. Again, we're gonna leave this last piece of hardware on there. It's not a big deal. It's not gonna get in our way, and it's not gonna affect anything long term. This is great. We removed, just to recap, we removed the faceplate, the strings, the jack, the string holders, the neck, and then the neck strap holders. So in the next video, I'm gonna show you guys how to clean everything off, how to map it out so that we can set it up to prime. So I'll be looking forward to doing that, and I'll be looking forward to hearing all the feedback of what you guys think about this new series. If you want to keep up to date, or if you kind of want to see, you know, some glimpses at the next videos, you know, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll be posting pictures as I do the process, so you'll get kind of more of like a live feed. Great, thank you guys for watching this. We'll see you soon.